It's weird.
We intro, no about hook, no about chorus.
Okay. It's we to as well.
Oh, say one man to me.
Now what to intro now? Now rap the end.
Enti yento abasako muna. One madingina. Enti odo wense sanda. Na one ne krapengina. Yento abasako muna. Yento abasako. Yento abasako.
And then the new day got you.
No. And you we try no 209. Yes.
I don't mean so was our talent.
Oh, more, me say, I didn't uncle Pon the action. The first song I'm a Troy. It's at number 14 years. No, we train number 17 years.
What do you do?
What do you do? What's all that? I'm some to back to be.
Okay.
What do time is that?
So need to have
we say, Oma, Musunkwa. Baba. Also, local competition. Yes. Things fall apart in my heavy life. So soon my life will be bright and shine. Them say that be in the night. Oh, for the past 6 years, I've been in prison. I was into prison, not finding it difficult. And now I'm being released. This is my reward. Oh, this is my story. Oh no. Should you take my consent?
Hey, Springburger. Aqua voice in here. Oh, there. You wouldn't man. No see a movie about what's wrong with you. Do you know what you are in Cravas or Metauchi?
Oh, unse.
Oh, no, you'll be as a
yeah.
Metauchia. So, to no Metauchi. Oh, this are what we over to Jamahai. So, there be a Jamakuano. But on 10 minutes after you. Okay, you are can't. Don't quit, why? You can't come up with that, baby.
I'm sure I'm matching the ball. Him to see now, my mission is your boss. My mission is your boss.
All the 10 minutes after your car, or 4 minutes, 50 seconds. I say 50 seconds. I don't remember. My mission is here. This story to me, I mean, Israel. Oko Israel. There's this fascinating story about, the Israel Federation Association. Omutimi. I think say Luther Krabe whole story wahanum. But the point is say Puma and Adidas, it's my back off from Israel Federation Association. Say most of the things say also our West Bank concerning Israel and Palestinians, as to say Omutimi display a lot of human rights abuse. Most of the people requested say Emma sports case sponsor be an intimi and call Israel Federation Association and sponsor based on Nehemiah Koso Israel Tokwa with Palestinians for so many years in the man. But say Puma and Adidas back off. Now say Adidas back in 2018. Now say Puma BCH in 2018. I could just say human it tracked back to the kind of beef and rivalry at that momentum. We're out of Dazzler and away rid of Dazzler. There were two brothers who sat down to establish one particular shoe manufacturing company that was purposely for the sponsorship of athletes, footballers, and clubs and national teams during the time in 1919. And Omoshasi established that kind of company, and it was referred as the Gebrüder Dazzler Company, or Herzegovina, that kind of municipality, or Bavaria, namely Bavaria in Munich, But the moment we established that shoe company, they say, Papa, and Christoph Dazzler, he was a shoe manufacturer. But then, no one to me any that shoe manufacturing company into a large quantity. So Rudolf Enebapeyin and own 1898 and Adolf in 1900. That 2 years later and Adolf. Now that time now Rudolf ceramic company Herzegovina, one particular company and a no year but at the age of 15 years, shared the West German military army. So he was a military man as far as as a worker, it was a ceramic company name. Now the Akoba and say, we mommy and as mommy, a friend Paulina. Paulina too was a laundry worker, one of the biggest company Herzegovina for. But what happened is after some a branch of friends Adolf. Now Adolf was someone or creative, in fact, or innovative. What meant no creating a lot of things. So in the year 1919, what's now say at that time, now Rudolf
away our First World War and odi economy the West Germans. Now, what's not or propound a good theory say he needs to establish the shoe company and papa a because me papa no that kind of idea no say obetimi I establish a big shoe company. I invite a lot of clubs, a lot of people. Amoma beshe sinebeye it will be a renowned company in the future. So out of etnasi propounded that theory, waiting for his brother to be back from the First World War. In 1919 to 1924, Rudolph called the First World War and returned back. Or by Adolf settled down with him and the theory in the train. When he sat down with Rudolph, not the theory in the train, Rudolph said, "Yeah, me support you. Says any so I didn't win a winner. I will support you for this particular company to become a well-known company in the world." And on the Gabriela Dazzler Manufacturing Shoe Company, Herzeganov. When they established this particular company, in the year 1938, at that time, Berlin Olympic Games, there was a particular athlete, African American slave trader in the core, and he was called Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens in 1938 Berlin Olympic Games won 4 gold medals, and the Gabriela Dazzler company needed a particular athlete to meet my company in Berlin. That kind of athlete needed me a shoot to the exposure of the Gabriela Dazzler company, and they met Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens at the time Jesse Owens got the gold medal or share the Gabriela athlete kits that kind of gold medal. But unim this year. Far bike. Call Berlin from Herzegovina to Berlin. Use bicycle and run the core. The bicycle was full of 200,000 sports kits of Gabriela. And when they went to Berlin at once, 200,000 sports kits needed to sign Berlin. So that name called the Dazzler Manufacturing Shoe Company became a renowned company in Germany within that short period of time in 1938. But in later parts in 1940s, because it's a one. Rudolph a part of the army. And during those times, there was a particular political party in West Germany which was called the Nazi Party. And the Nazi Party was spearheaded by Adolf Hitler. Yeah. And Adolf Hitler himself was a Nazi leader. No? He is always seen say, a totalitarian and a dictatorship, and as a dictator. In Soba, whether you like it or not, do yourself, military for more that kind of quotes, do before complain. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, you will be cool. And then he smashed a lot of people in West Germany. And even the Americans, no people believe, he said, the Second World War, Adolf Hitler was part of the conspiracy, or more conspired the Second World War, of which the Rudolph was part of his close people are not on in the year, Juma. So during that time, the Allies belongs to the Japanese, the Germans, and also the US people. The US for the best spy, Rudolph. But Rudolph only believe, he said, Adolf in the Americans in the later part in the 1940s. Because at that time, the Second World War in 1948, and they needed to actually revenge on most of the people in the Nazi party. They were actually involved in the Second World War. And Rudolph and Mani dream be say Adolf and the US for no ababechino. It's actually Rudolph pa. You Rudolph then buy no. And ne papa Christoph Dazzler and Adrian say because of Santa Wantawan a dome in Temnintino. Omuntna Herzegovina of one man, name Omun living in the same via. Rudolph Yere Antiasie, Adolf also Yere Antiasie. So Omum your Madrian say Omunt nephew because our refuni mu say a year no Rudolph Yere any Adolf Yere no Montiasie with that kind of decision. Christoph Dazzler Edmund, these two, beautiful brothers, no Mantiasie. So living the same area in Herzegovina, Intimianye very, very good. And almost so intimate. Now in 1948, they needed to understand mutually. No be able to go into his separate ways. So in 1948, Rudolph Ekonenim Imuche Ekote, on one Kasane Manufacturing Shoe Company, and Adam Sokote or no dear bet. When you check in the Gabriela Dazzler Manufacturing Shoe Kits now Rudolph only believing in sales-oriented approach. Okay. Meaning, say, or no believing in Sika. Say me ya the cramp. I'm not talking about the quality, but then quite first one makes me attract a lot of people based on my economical nature. Enemy economical status now I can easily get a lot of people to buy my kit. But Adolf Dazzler will believe in quality development of sports kits. See, any quality. When your sports kits are quality, you can get a lot of people. Until within that moment in time, the people in Hexagon at that time they were close to about 30,000 people over there. 2/3 of the workers no more company in Muche and 2/3 need follow Adolf Dazzler.
Oh, okay.
To his Adidas. So Adolf Ad and then Dazzler is that name Das and shortened the Kabum Adidas. Wow. And Rudolph it's a Ruda sports kit, but later on Odebema Puma in later part in 1960s. But in 1970, as MKC this year, this man or Woneba, near friend Horse Dazzler, Papa Winso baby, near friend Amin Dazzler. In 1970 World Cup, it was one of the beautiful World Cup at that time. The young emerging person who coming up and who being so world best was Pele. And when he was there, they wanted him to become one of the athletes to be team sponsor either Adidas and as a Puma. Puma for your margin said they will easily go in and then search for the signature of Pele. Adidas for so Koye, Puma for Koye. But at the end of it, Horst Dazzler and then Amin Dazzler, the two cousins, echo in mutual agreement say, Sikana Abraham say Pele we airpay in 1970 World Cup just to advertise their product, because it's free, different family. But then we have that particular rivalry between us. At that time, this man was actually expecting close to about $120,000, who equivalent here. He can easily get close to about $2.8 million at that time. Omutimi was signing a particular mutual contract called the Pele Pact. And the Pele Pact, they say, move between the Adidas and Puma. You cannot go beyond to sign the agreement with Pele. But at the end of the tunnel, Puma, which is actually known as Amin Dazzler and Papa Rudolph Dazzler. No, Rudolph, it's me, we can negotiate with Pele outside the backyard. So in the 1970 World Cup, this was a quarter-final match between Brazil and Peru. And at the start of the game, because of say, na adian secret, no biam pese ombe because the Puma, any Pele and negotiating intino. We have video near that's now. Pele stopped referee before the start of the match. A catch referee say he wants to lace his shoes because he wanted the cameras to actually sight the shoe called Puma. And Okoto yellow lace in the shoe no, and a camera and capture the sports cater sponsor Puma, and it became a well-known sponsor in the world in 1970 World Cup. And that's now working. So this is Pele, Wakotoa, all lazy shoes, That is Pele. It was called the Pele Pact. Now this resulted in a dangerous rivalry between Puma and Adidas. Because in say Pele Pact, you sign a bond, say Pele Pact, when Obi and but Puma, wo Rudolph na papa penimo no ba Amin Dazzler afechi akwa yes ade ne dia ene ye ntokwa na ya shemuki na way back na afina ye ba be. So within that period of time, Adidas ni believing say with the quality development or no Adolf betimi ne ba host ebetimi develop a lot of training kits into metimi aye. But a lot of people believe in Germany say Rudolph and ba Amin no snitches, and betrayally out of any in the bucket one house no. So most of the German people only believe they they wouldn't go in for Rudolph Nejuma now, So at that time, Bayern Munich was also coming up, and Bayern Munich came in for Adidas. That is the reason why when you go to Bayern Munich, Adidas that kind of percentage. Bayern Munich related close to about 8.9% in the percentage sales of Bayern Munich. That was the time a Bavaria community supported Adidas. And the German national team supported the side of Adidas.
Maestro.
That was the rift between the Adidas and the Puma. And then say Israel, most of the people in Israel in 2018, Adidas when they can sign a contract. Say check about human rights abuse. Israel community between the West Bank, Palestinians, and the Israel community in now. We will not associate ourselves with that kind of brand. Do you know something? before some met your months, not knowing that Israel for not communicated to the Adidas for and say they will not tolerate the side of Adidas. So are the main kit sponsor for their national team. Not knowing say na Puma for ACHA. In 2018. So in July 2018, no more cancel more contract with Israel now. Now Puma for also answer CHA in that same July. Or call na Puma for signing a contract in July 2018.
The Puma near Adidas
in Tokano and the cry.
Demaestro.
It started way back in 1940s.
How come we so the banner the young to Abehamia?
Say and you know, a talent or
Maestro.
Oh, landlord.
Vas, me jam wallet no.
They say you're more charming one in Parliament.
They can be issued
sound.
So we never share. Maestro. Money.
But you know my boss and then Nana Kwame sorry. I
about someone what to your man. I say
I am